Very glad to be back for the second game of tonight's broadcast. This is the 2021 College League of Legends Big East Conference Tournament. It's a 9-week long season for the members of the Big East Conference. My name is Stanley Greyheart Barker. I'm here with my co-caster, the fantastic Jake Superman Mori, and we're excited to be here as part of this EGF production. This is our first week of the 9-week tournament. Remember, we'll be here every Saturday at 1 and 3 p.m. Eastern Time to catch these matches. Don't forget to check out the second set of matches which are going on our sister channel. If that's what interests you, they are over on twitch.tv/Big East Esports. Make sure to follow Big East and all the competing teams on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, of course. Superman, we're coming in for game 2. We're coming in hot. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it should be. Georgetown versus DePaul coming up in just a few quick minutes. And if you were watching over on the twitch.tv/Big East Esports, they sent you over here because we actually had a forfeit earlier today, and we're not sure about the second match. So we're happy to have the full Collegiate East audience here on this channel. But yeah, I think we have some messages from the teams themselves.
All right.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't. Driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
Superman, great to see those videos there from Georgetown University and DePaul University. Really making me wish, actually, that I'd been able to attend a collegiate university over in the States. Looks freaking awesome.
Indeed. Yeah, I can't wait to see what these teams have in store for their draft, as we're just moments away from that. In terms of these two teams, my eyes are on the bottom lane. Last game, I was interested in the mid lane matchup. The draft didn't really favor that to be the lane to watch, but here in this game, King Amazin, he has taken this league by storm in years past. So looking at the bottom lane in that 80 carry position, we'll have to see how he does. Draft is just moments away, and I wonder if we'll get to see a Misfortune go deathless again on Summoner's Rift.
And King Amazing, I believe, is on the is a DePaul ADC. DePaul actually one of the teams in that forfeit matchup you're talking about from the first stream. So they're actually find themselves already 0-1 due to having to forfeit that game due to unfortunate circumstances. They're hoping to bounce straight back to make themselves 1-1 for the night.
Indeed, yep. And we'll just have to see how they can show us in their live match today, when they have their entire team present, what they can show us on the Rift. Now, last game, just a recap for those of you who may have missed it.
What a game.
Huh? Yeah, it was exciting one, to say the least. Very back and forth for a while. Seton Hall versus Butler. Butler took the win. But we're here into the draft. I'm excited to see where the bans go. Last game had a lot of top lane bans. I don't expect the same to this one. Kamcha, kind of just that rock in the top lane. It never really tends to go for the carry role in his team, but never wanted to let his team down for those tank initiators either.
Talia is going to be the first champion taken off the board. One of those champions that seems to be coming back into the ascendancy. Speaking of junglers, there's the Rek'Sai taken away by DePaul.
Kind of a curious takeaway. I haven't seen Rek'Sai show up too much in the preseason into the early parts of season 2021. Talia, of course, different story. She's shown up a lot, even in competitive recently, and definitely want to take that out of the jungle pool.
It is going to be gone, as is the Olaf, completely targeted towards these junglers during the pick and ban part. The ban part of pick and ban. Victor will be our first mid lane takeaway. Of course, some big changes coming to that in the preseason. We're seeing that he's now stacking up those abilities in a different way rather than having the hex core.
Yeah, and I would expect him to actually be a pretty high priority pick for the Big East. There's a lot of just mid lane fiestas in a good way that happen around the mid lane, and it's a party. And normally those aggressive control mages tend to make their way into the draft, so they're taken out. Yone banned away as well as the Malphite, so they're kind of limiting a variety of pools. So there's quite a fair few champions available. I want to see probably a first pick in the jungle. I'm looking at maybe Graves. Got banned away last game, but is open for this one.
Of course, so many champions taken away. Is instead going to be the pony picked up. Overpowered Fruit going to be able to play the Hecarim in this one. Now let's see what is going to be most highly prioritized. It is that Kai'Sa, which we saw play to such a great effect by Seton Hall, even though they came up on the losing side of excuse me, of that battle.
Yeah, Kai'Sa definitely put up a fight against the crazy misfortune performance we got to see from red side last game. So Kai'Sa, great pickup as an answer to the Hecarim. This is a great choice too. Generally, Hecarim's job is to dive that backline. Kai'Sa has her own self-peel and repositioning tools available to her. And a curious answer in the jungle in that Nunu and Willem. It's a fair one. Quick speed in the clear times for the jungle, and generally too tanky for the pony to bully out.
Okay, so that's going to be our most highly prioritized pickups coming out of the red side pick. Now we switch over to blue, over to Georgetown. We're going to see them rounding out the first phase of this part of the draft. It's going to be the Jhin in response to the Kai'Sa. Jhin is a champ who, on the back of the lethality item changes, certainly saw a massive amount of dominance in the early stages of preseason. That's changed very slightly with the lethality changes that have come through, but it's still a very strong pick.
Yeah, Jhin, decent champion right now, in a good spot. Also another Gale Force user, like the misfortune we saw last game. A little bit different play style, of course, as far as the archetype of that AD carry, but well favored in competitive play. I am excited to see that go forward, and definitely has some CC combos with the Alistar, assuming that champion does not get countered by the likes of, say, a Maokai or Galio, or even the AP Shaco has been on the rise recently. But it looks, as far as the hovers go, that Seraphine or Thresh, maybe even the Pantheon, could be the option. Thresh is a decent one if you can time the flay to interrupt the Alistar headbutt combo. So also with the Dark Passage can give a little bit extra safety to that Kai'Sa.
The brief hover there of Rel. Thought I was going to get to cast Rel for the first time, but no, it was not to be. Instead, we're going to get the Thresh coming out of Arzez. This is a champion that I have many, many times on stream say how much I love. I think it is one of the most complete champion designs that Riot have ever come out with. It feels like it brings a little bit of everything without being stupidly overpowered. So definitely looking to see some exciting plays out of that one a little later. The Alistar that was picked just before it, however, takes me back to watching a little bit of the LEC yesterday. I believe it was G2 we saw picking up the count, doing a really, really good job with it. It got to a certain point where it was essentially unkillable.
Yeah, definitely can get to that point. All you have to do is stack a bit of health, have your ultimate available, and it's really difficult to take that champion down. I like the Thresh pickup as well. It's definitely a skill matchup between Alistar and Thresh. Thresh has to perfectly time his abilities to interrupt Alistar, and he kind of has to play it that way, because if you engage on the Alistar, he can just turn around things on you, either headbutt you away or turn around and combo you when your cooldowns are not available. Looks like those last few bans are going to be towards the mid lane, though. Greyheart, I don't see much of those S+ tier champions left available for mid.
You took the words out of my mouth. We can see 3 of the 4 last bans going towards mid lane. The final one being that Renekton for the top side, taking this one away from Capture.
I'll be excited to see what actually gets picked up. The hover here on the Vladimir is curious. Could be flexed to top lane as well. A little less common, but also possible. As a blind pick on red side, which is already weird to say, then you're going to see what blue team will answer. And they kind of, again, have to play around the possibility of Vladimir being flexed between those two lanes. It's a kind of heavy magic damage composition right here for red team. That's DePaul University, which means they do have the option of considering a heavy AD champion, maybe an assassin, Zed, Yone, Yasuo, Yone Battleway, excuse me, but a few AD assassin or duelists available to bring into the mid lane if they want to flex Vladimir to top. Nar sent up top lane, who can actually bully the Vladimir matchup, one of the few champions who can kind of give Vladimir a run for his money with that crazy sustain that that vampire has. And actually, the steal away might happen here with Zed being hovered here on blue side for Georgetown.
This is actually exactly what is going to happen. No change of the pickup. Damn. No change to that pick up until like -3 seconds
Yeah,
on my screen. The Corki's coming through. If it gets matched up against an Azir, I'm rage quitting and you're doing this one by yourself.
All right. I'll solo cast if we have
That's
to
the deal,
see
right?
that matchup. Yeah, oh, sure. I'll take you up on it. I mean, look at this. It's a very different draft than we thought might happen with the Corki coming out in mid lane, that you have quite a bit more magic damage, but from a marksman style. And if there's one thing that red team wants to do, DePaul wants to immediately engage on you, whether that's through the biggest snowball ever that Nunu and Willem can roll down the rift, or it's Wukong finding the decent flank, or Thresh finding that death sentence. One way or another, they're going to come at you and come at you strong. And the answer is, do you have package for Corki available? Is Gnar mega? There's very few timed windows for the perfect fight for blue team, whereas red team just wants to fight you now and always.
Yeah, it feels like you're asking all the right questions, or all the right observations there, Superman. Definitely looking towards the Mega Gnar as we get towards these team fights. In our last game, Butler had this incredible team fight composition, and a part of me feels that given the circumstances being as you just described them, that Georgetown could have the same here, but there are so many mitigating factors. If they're down a curtain call, down an unbreakable will, or the Mega Gnar, or even the Corki package, are they able to take those fights in the same way? Will the outpouring of damage that's going to come late game from that Vladimir, going to come out of that Kai'Sa like we saw last time, come through? Personally, I slightly favor DePaul's draft. How about you?
DePaul definitely has a little bit more agency in when they can choose to fight or choose not to fight. They do lack slight disengage, but with their champions being relatively mobile, they can do their best to disengage fights they don't want. They can definitely start them whenever they want. But here's the thing. As I mentioned just earlier, Georgetown has to have their stars align for them to get the perfect team fight. I mean, imagine actually a Mega Gnar ultimate combo into a wall where the package has already left its trail of blood. Like that, you're burning everybody to a crisp, but just 2 of your 5 champions. There is a dream scenario, absolutely, for Georgetown if they can find the exact right fights. And if they do, there's really no way around it. But they have to have those stars align.
We'll come back to some of those individual matchups in just a moment as we wait through, of course, the joys of spectator delay that we deal with here in these university and college events. I want to ask you a question that I love to ask pretty much all of my co-casters over the years. In an imaginary world where, well, I imagine it's imaginary, it may not be, you can correct me if otherwise, where you get to be in charge of Riot for the day and you can delete one champion from the game and it will never come back again, which champion do you delete?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. It's definitely not the classic ones like Teemo or whatever for me. I think the one champion I hate more than any other has probably got to be LeBlanc.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anyone give that answer before. So there you go. What do you hate so much about LeBlanc?
I really dislike the distortion ability. I think there's just way too much lack of counterplay on it. The fact that you can blink back an insane distance in the blink of an eye to safety after dealing your entire kit's worth of damage 3 screens away from where you started, and all of that happens within 3 seconds, I don't think is healthy for the game.
I can see where excuse me, I can see where you're coming from on that one, but I mean,
I'm also a support main, so you have to take it with a grain of salt because I'm generally, play like Janna or Lulu or whatever. I'm just, I only have 1600 health, and if I have magic resist, it's because I had to build a Mikhail so my 80 carry doesn't die. I'm saving it for them too. So, if it comes to assassins, I'm kind of at a loss.
Well, excuse me. As a support player, how do you feel about this statement? If I were able to take one away, it 100% definitely would be Pyke.
I'm okay with that. I like to play the champion myself, but I hate to play against it. If I ever have to play against it, I just play Lulu and I save my polymorph for him. So anytime he dashes in, he's turning into a squirrel, and ha ha ha. It's basically like deleting him from the game anyway.
Well, that would be something that I would enjoy quite a lot. Like to see that champion be on the losing end of matches that I'm casting. Let us know in the chat if there's a champion that you would like to see gone. Also, let us know who you're cheering for in this game. On the blue side, we're going to see Georgetown. They are going up against DePaul. This is our second game of the first week of this Big East competition, and I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. Already, my eyes drawn towards the summoner spells for the Vladimir, opting into the ghosting knife.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. My eyes went wide. I checked his keystone to be like, does he have the summoner spell change one. I can't remember the name of it, but like Unsealed Spellbook. Is he changing his summoner spells the entire game? Because those are some little weird ones, but they're extremely aggressive, right? You have Phase Rush and Ghost. That means he's got the zoomies. He's like a cat late at night. He's going to be all over Summoner's Rift, and you won't know where he's coming from until he's already on top of you. That can be fantastic for avoiding those early ganks from Hecarim, who of course is known for movement speed on his champion. But when it comes to the late game, he'll definitely have backline access. There's no way to stop him having 600 move speed while in his pool. So where are you gonna hide? It really comes down to Jhin having the perfect positioning, and maybe that means Alistar has to be hardcore peel duty. We'll have to see how it evolves.
Let's keep our eyes onto that one. There are, of course, two champions without the flash in this game, as we've just talked about. Zerch is Vladimir, also overpowered for running that Ghost on the Hecarim, something that we're a little bit more familiar with seeing in the jungle. As with last turn, we're looking towards those jungle items. It's going to be a Chilling Smite eventually secured for the Nunu, challenging Smite for Hecarim as he looks to get himself right into the middle of those fights.
Yep, and so it really does come down to these junglers. They have pretty quick clears, or at least healthy clears would be true of both of them. When it comes to the first clears of the jungle, generally looking at competitive play, most junglers are going for an entire first clear, sometimes 2 full clears before their first ganks. So we don't see much action before the 5-6 minutes marks. But speaking of action, right at the early game,
it's our first 5 stack of the day. We're going to see the flash coming in from the Alistar. However, that's just a clone. You've got the quick level up of the W4 camp. Is going to be enough to get himself out to safety and burn the summoner. Ignite as well from Subaxi.
All right, Kamcha just bamboozling them. The perfectly timed clone means they didn't even realize that they had committed every ability to a fake champion. They commit the Ignite from Alistar even to try and pick up that first blood, but instead of 400 gold, they're just going to get 25.
Yeah, the flash isn't the end of the world because you're going to have that Hex flash coming in for the Alistar. However, that is going to be one mad cow as he loses out on the Ignite as well. 2 summoners down for the support over at Georgetown.
Yeah, the bad news though is now you started W as top Wukong. Generally you're not going to take W until level 3 in that matchup, but now he definitely doesn't have a key spell for level 2 to actually take a trade with a notoriously aggressive champion in the Gnar. So I actually would expect to see Hecarim considering his first gank path to go topside. As I mentioned before, I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but if he can maybe pop up there within the first few levels in an unconventional path, he might be able to put additional pressure and just get Shifty Crescent off to a great start.
2 things of note as we see both the junglers starting on the top side. One is that both of the buffs that they were taking straight away, they were warded out, so there was full vision on that from their opposition. The other is that much like the last game, for those of you who are tuned into Seaton against Butler, we are going to see both of these junglers making their way towards the bottom half of the map as that Scuttle Crab spawns, and that could become a point of contention. And so far, a nice push from Vladimir will make it quite tricky for Corky to answer.
Yep, and as we mentioned about this top lane, you can see the Gnar just completely harassing Kamcha out, even through that healing that he's supposed to have with that Doran shield, getting him to that half health point.
Biggest ever snowball you mentioned earlier on is coming through. The flay's going to connect on Subaxi. Remember, he is flashless. He is caught by the death sentence. And first one comes through. King Amazing doing what King Amazing does best.
Yeah, fantastic play there from the Thresh, setting it up with the Flay, and then landing that almost max range death sentence, secures the lockdown onto Alistar, and the kill credit, like you said, goes over to Amazing, which is a great thing for red side. DePaul wants to get this guy rolling. He is generally their main carry player, and Kai'Sa is a fantastic meta champion right now. It definitely can be set up to carry the entire team.
Charge straight onto Zerch, but Zerch is going to be safe enough on that Vladimir. Meanwhile, it's going to be a Scuttle Crab already being secured by the Nunu on the bottom half of the river. This will be traded over as Hecarim. We'll find that control, we'll find that Scuttle Crab on the top side, but full credit to the Nunu, as you said, getting involved early. Meanwhile, Shifty Crescent doing a pretty decent job of harassing Kamcha, but actually narrowly losing out on CS. As we see the snowball coming, again, the Lantern will not be taken, then the snowball continues to go. The hook is going to connect despite the flash in a straight line. Prometheus School of running away from things. It's the King Amazing getting another kill.
fantastic prediction. I know it was relatively a short, straight line, but this Thresh player, he really knows where to throw that hook, and he picks up yet another assist on the bottom side of the map with a shared assist pool. But mid lane, this Nunu's just everywhere.
He's looking for gank after gank after gank, and Reaper putting in solid work so far. 2 assists to the name and looking for yet more. Had the opportunity to have a brief chat on Discord earlier on with Reaper just to find out a little bit about the team. Hearing about this group of relative strangers who sort of come together and now consider themselves to be good friends in this lineup it's just what I love to hear about with university and collegiate esports.
Oh man, and I think there was an opportunity for kill in the top lane there with the engagement. You see Wukong has to recall, and yeah, this team as a squad, and they got to learn that synergy. If they're new together, then they've got to quickly determine what their playstyle as a group is. Seems to be working out for them so far, playing through the bottom side of the map as they've got King Amazin, more of a legacy name for their university, up to almost 1,000 gold lead at this point, as he's got a CS advantage on top of his 2 kills.
There's a 1,500 gold lead almost that's been built up now for DePaul, and a lot of that gold is in the pocket of Kaiser. There's even a shutdown available should they be able to find it. Ryok would certainly like to get a little bit of that gold in the pocket, but it's just not quite happening for the Jin so far. He's already at boots, a longsword and Dorison's blade in comparison to a serrated Dirk already there, plus extra blades as well for the Kaiser, who is just going to rip through targets. Yet again, Nunu looking to come in, looking to roll the snowball in, not finding anything this time.
It's at this point where you think you ought to have that tent emote equipped, and you just splash that, because what is that, the 3rd or 4th time that Nunu showed up in the bottom lane, at least showing his face, and 2 of those times was extremely successful, resulting in kills for Kaisa, and now he just gets a free look at the dragon by the looks of it.
Yeah, as a jungler, that's an emote I always have on my summoner profile ready to go. Meanwhile, we see level 6 against level 5 in top. Shifty Crescent's opting into this one, knowing that the Mega Knight is available. Finds the wallet, finds good damage. Heflin coming in, looking for the counter. Has just hit ultimate, will have the Cyclone available. Uses the first charge of it, going aggressive, dashes straight back in, looking for a second one, but gets stopped in his tracks by the Gnar. Kamcha finding a second Cyclone, finding his way out, and overpowered fruit, burns the ghost and doesn't find a kill.
That was a little bit of a clown fiesta.
Flash! The clown fiesta ends in a kill for the Monkey General.
Well played, yeah. In the 1v2, he ends up netting himself a solo kill, reverting that around. And it was a little bit weird. I felt like Shifty Crescent was a little slow on the draw for leveling up his ultimate and actually using it, because it looked like his rage bar was available before Kamcha was back underneath his turret. Guess not, though.
Find it just here. Fishbro is the only person in a lane yet to not die for the Georgetown team, and it felt just a little bit like an overforce up in top, trying to find maybe a little bit too much where there wasn't necessarily anything to be found. The turnaround that means that Kamcha finds even more of a lead for DePaul.
Yeah, and he's also got that CS lead in top lane, and I don't think you're always going to have insane kill threat as Wukong, even with a small advantage over Gnar. Gnar just has a decent amount of mobility. He can harass you down from range, stay safe from range for the majority of that 1v1 phase. But now at this point, with Wukong getting that early damage, it means if Reaper decides to stop camping bottom lane and show up top lane for a little while, you definitely have the opportunity to get some more kills onto the Gnar.
I mean, I'm someone who personally plays pretty dreadful in lane. I mean, some of my teammates would argue I play pretty dreadfully in the jungle as well. But I always think about the matchup as Gnar about how you manage whether or not they're going to have the Gnar bar up or not.
Yeah.
And that felt pretty perfectly played by Kamcha, not only surviving in that 2v1 gank situation, getting the ghost out of overpowered fruit, but also then coming in and going, right, your Gnar bar's gone, you're back to mini, you're squishy, flash, Q, dead. And speaking of dead, Fishbro under a lot of pressure here with the Hemo Plague having been put down. Zerch is going to commit to this one, has already used the pool, will look to try and escape. It's going to be on Slaughter. Shadows coming in as overpowered fruit, does find a return kill. It's a 1-for-1 in mid.
It is a 1-for-1, and actually it's a greater gold advantage that goes the way of Georgetown because they had an assist as part of that execution. So it was nice of them to show up to have their back of Fishbro. As far as the lane goes, I think that was a bit of an anomaly to have the Vladimir be that aggressive. Generally, you're not going to see a Vladimir be able to do that until he's got a few more items under his belt. Those items are there now, though, at least as components. And Corki, who already fell for this kind of trade, is going to have to be that much more careful moving forward.
I could be wrong, but it felt a little bit like he's going, I've got these aggressive summoners, I'm going to go aggressive. Speaking of aggressive, Heal Beam is burnt on Ryok. Killer Instinct comes in because the knockup still connects. Knockup onto Reaper. He can do what he can to stay alive. Finds the absolute zero, and there's absolutely zero chance of Subatsu getting away from this one. Double kill comes in yet again for King Amazing. Luna's going to get killed off by Fishbro, who wants to find more kills, but with the hook, yet again, connecting from max distance, Arzeus rightfully takes his reward of a kill onto the mid laner.
Arzeus, that's the kind of moment where you see them flash the Mastery 7 emote, and they're just like, yeah, this is my champion. Clearly, this is not a support hero. You should have let this guy be able to pilot. You put this guy on Thresh, and he's going to land every single hook. And it has worked out fantastically for them on the bottom side of the map. And, I mean, also, tip of the hat there to Reaper, showing up for the, I think, 26th time to bottom lane in just 10 minutes. I'm, of course, exaggerating, but it definitely would feel that way if you were on blue team.
Arzeus, what a game so far. Of course, we're always going to sing King Amazing's praise. Yes, he's Giga fed at this point, but Arzeus making a lot of these plays alongside Reaper. And to borrow a line from more esteemed casters than I, that wasn't just a death sentence. In fact, that wasn't even just a death chapter. That was an entire death book being written by Arzeus at this point.
Yeah, and more chapters to come, it would seem. He's deathless thus far. He's got, yeah, it might even be a trilogy, a whole epic, if you will, because he's got mobility boots. He can show up anywhere on the map within seconds, and I imagine that's exactly what he'll do, because at this point in the game, when Kai'Sa's almost completed her mythic item, there's only a couple more plates to go in bottom lane. Dragon's coming up. She can take care of herself. Alistar, even if he gets a perfect combo, what's a Noon Quiver Jhin gonna do to follow that up in terms of damage? She's got Killer Instinct just a few seconds away. Again, they'll be able, she's able to basically chase down herself or keep herself.
Reaper doesn't quite manage the Tokyo Drift, and as a result finds himself in trouble, throws down the absolute zero, but he's going to be the one dying this time. Ryok finds a kill, as does Fishbro. A 2-for-0 due to a slight misplay becomes a 2-for-1 on the back of the plasma coming out of King Amazing W. Now Kamcha going forward, trying to find damage on Shifty Crescent, unable to do so. There is a dragon available, but neither team strong enough to go and take it on the back of that last fight. Subatsu has to be very, very careful. Immediately gets obliterated by King Amazing, who is 6-0-2.
Yeah, it was a curious turn of events. You mentioned that the failed Tokyo Drift came through. Well, they definitely spun out that play, giving over 2 deaths very quickly. And then it was King Amazing just doing like a Season 3 in Italy cosplay. And that worked out really well for him, picking up not just 1, but 2 kills on the back end of that fight, evening it up. And yeah, unfortunate at the top lane, he got baited by the clone once again. Flashbacks to the level 1 play.
I suppose it's sort of one of those, to borrow from the Marvel Comics series, the what if moments. You know, what if that isn't the clone? Sure, you get yourself a kill as Nah, but he's going to find himself without an ultimate for at least another minute or 2. Meanwhile, Dragon being secured by Reaper means that the second Dragon of the game will go over to the same team that got the first. DePaul finding themselves a near 4,000 gold lead as the Ocean bring life to the Rift. Extra pushes all over the map, and we're going to be seeing Ocean Soul very soon.
Yeah, and that's a very scary possibility. You know, speaking to that top lane possibility, it's lucky that... Oh
no,
I'm not...
Again.
Okay, all right. Shifty Crescent definitely not respecting the fact that he's down quite a bit of gold and that most of that gold has already been spent. Kamcha has it in his inventory as damage components, so you have to respect that a little bit more. I was going to say that it's lucky for Shifty Crescent that this Gnar champion has been adjusted in recent patches over the preseason history.
Death sentence and obliteration is all that is there for Alistar. We're going to see the snowball run into the wall by Reaper, who doesn't look to drop into Ryok's DMs anytime soon. Only 1 turret plate remaining there on the bottom half of the map, and it feels like first turret blood going soon.
Yeah, I gotta say, for all the sadness that's shown up on the League of Legends subreddit about not having a winter map, there's enough snowballs on the bottom side here that I could be convinced otherwise that we're playing on Winter Summoner's Rift. And as a bot lane player myself, I would not enjoy the camp that's being given by Reaper, but he's definitely using his presence in the bottom lane to push his team to victory. DePaul now up 6,000 gold almost in only 13 and a half minutes, but the flank in bottom lane.
Oh, Ryok going for this one, but it's a 2v1. Killer Instinct going in, trying to find the kill to Ryok and managing it. Now it's going to be a 1 versus 1 against Alistar, looking for a bit of steak to go alongside his appetizers. Kamcha finding good damage, but the Onslaught of Shadows arrives just in time. Here comes Reaper looking for the Kamcha, making it a 2v2. Shifty Crescent is going to find the shutdown, but he's going to get chased down, surely. No, not enough damage for Reaper. The 2v2 goes completely against the turn of play as Georgetown find themselves a double.
Wow, well played by the Georgetown top jungle duo. They finally find Kamcha. He comes out of stealth at the last possible second, slammed against the wall, and that means they net themselves a couple of kills and almost fell. It was almost overpowered fruit dying to Reaper, but luckily he took that rune Triumph that gives you a little bit of health after you get an assist or kill. So able to come out on top, and then Reaper realized he was in a bad spot, dies against the wall. We'll chat perfectly with them. But remember what happened in the bottom lane. I had mentioned that this is precisely what could have happened. That King Amazing is at the point where he doesn't need Arzeres anymore. Arzeres did his job. He got his 80 carry fed. Like a parent with a small child that they're training to be a superstar player, it's like, all right, I've done my job. I've taught you all the mechanics. I've taught you how to play the game. And clearly you're at the point where you can do it all yourself. And now the student becomes the master. And King Amazing, even with Alistar landing a full combo, was able to take out 2 on his own.
Away, first shot, the curtain call is going to connect. Overpowered Brute sent back, scurrying away to relative safety of his teammates, courtesy of Vladimir dropping a huge bit of damage straight onto the jungler. Hecarim not having the happiest of times, but did manage to pick himself up a kill in that top lane trade we saw earlier on. It's that part of the game where we start looking towards the mythics that have been picked up. Tell me about what we're seeing in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's both core drinkers, so there's a lot of healing that'll come through, even without, the Ocean Drake being picked up yet. But speaking of just like items in general and mythics that may or may not be purchased yet, I need to point out that Reaper is basically the sole serious tank for his team. And yes, he's been involved in a lot of kills, but he hasn't actually gotten more than just 1 kill credit himself, which means total gold of the gold lead his team has, much of that share is not in his pocket. And I worry a little bit as we saw what happened top lane and that not full-on fight, but somewhat skirmish that happened around mid. Reaper is still relatively squishy. That's really worrisome. He's got Phase Rush instead of something like Aftershock, so we have to keep an eye on whether or not he actually has the items to keep himself alive as essentially the main initiator for his team. It's up to him to come down a lane with Snowball, get that first bit of CC. All right, as I say that, Arzeres is just showing up big.
Yeah, this is just Arzere's show at the minute. He is absolutely phenomenal. The kills are going over to King Amazing, but I cannot sing the praises of this Thresh enough. Third dragon of the game will be spawning in less than 30 seconds, and right now I don't see a scenario in which DePaul don't take themselves a position to get to Soul Point.
Oh yeah, I mean, things in theory are not always the same in practice, and in theory, I was going to say that you can't count on Thresh to land every hook. You have to look for a much more reliable source of engage, like a flank from the Wukong or the biggest snowball ever being super fast coming down a lane, but it seems that the Arzeres guys just can't miss.
Oh, the snowball does come through, not going to connect this time. Overpowered Brute is going to have to hunt along some shadows, tries to get away, but Zerch finds the damage coming through, doesn't even burn the ignite, just the ultimate this time round. Reaper is going to take a lot of damage coming out of Ryok. Subatsu trying to trade back, but Vladimir's already taken down the Jhin. Kamcha dives in, helps the triple kill be secured by the Vladimir, and the dragon will be the next prize.
Yeah, over 6,000 is that gold lead now, and you can see they're basically just chasing down fish in a barrel. Wherever they go, even underneath a turret, the red team will follow. I imagine this is the kind of lead where you have to press tab, or you accidentally ping the Baron Pit as the next play, but then you realize it's not 20 minutes yet. I guess we'll take an Ocean Drake, which sets them up for Soul Point, but it's not quite the purple worm that they would hope to get off of a play like that.
Very true. I mean, is there a second Herald available? Is that going to be
something more?
Oh my word, here at Big East, DePaul are looking great. They are 0-1 in the tournament so far on the back of having to FF their first game. They are looking to make amends here in the second match of the night, and they are looking pretty damn good for it.
Indeed, yeah. There's not quite a second Herald ready yet, and many of those outer turrets have fallen. Actually all in favor of DePaul. As far as the structure score goes. They're looking to take down that mid lane turret next, and I don't think it'll last much longer because they seem to have full control of the river and beyond.
We've done a lot of talking about King Amazing, but Zerch is also looking mighty fine right now. Isaiah's dodging away from the deadly flourish. Teleport is going to come in as Shifty Crescent looks to find a boomerang over the wall, decides not into trying to chase any further. Death Sentence. What? Did that connect? Did this by a country mile? Says Overpowered Fruit. Says me. But says Isaiah's. I will set up yet another kill for my team. Capture the willing recipients of this one. Flashing in. King Amazing looking to obliterate Ryok. Succeeding. Finding one. Now trying to do it out against two more members. But he's going to find a shutdown. No deathless game this time for King Amazing.
All right, King Amazing definitely thirsty for blood. Picks up his run on Hurricane off of that solo kill, but gives someone 1,000 gold shutdown. He's probably the worst person you would want to have that against you. The Corki definitely known for late game scaling and damage, and if DePaul struggles to close this out with the massive gold lead they've brought on for themselves, then they may run into a late game Corki that can definitely delete the lack of frontline that DePaul has.
Got to start talking about the items that are being picked up by that Corki as well. Already seeing the Magic Pen boots coming in. Neuramana completed. We'll be getting towards that Trinity Force as well, which means that a massive amount of mixed damage will come through. Was just talking about Zerch, about Vladimir. Not really present in that last fight, but still putting out loads of damage. Will be able to phase rush in. Has the Ghost available that we talked about during Champ Select. I'm terrified about the damage that can come out of this DePaul lineup, but credit to Georgetown. They are not giving up on this game yet.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. It's Zerch and King Amazing with just an absurd amount of damage, both as burst and as sustained damage throughout a team fight that they can put on. Look at that, stealthing forward, and just with one auto and the Q, Kathy and Rain does of the front line's health bar.
Call the newspapers, please. Isaiah's has just missed a hook.
Yeah, right. It is headline worthy at this point. The guy's got 10 assists in 20 minutes. That means every 2 minutes he's landing that. What is this?
For that
magnetic
small
hook.
Error finding a kill for the Kaiser, looking to get that bounty higher and higher once more. Nah, into the wall. Capture going to use the ultimate trying to get away. The Cyclone being used once, will be used twice as well in an attempt to survive, but it just isn't happening. Flashing away, has the Gore Drinker, tries to get the heal against these two targets, but Overpowered Fruit is here. Capture will get charged down. The question is, what have DePaul been doing across the map while this goes down? They already found the turret in mid. Now they're looking to get more kills in the top lane. King Amazing ripping through the health bars of that Hecarim like they are a knife through butter.
Yeah, and I think this would be a fantastic opportunity to immediately go for Baron, excuse me. I know that they don't have their top laner, but he's up with teleport in 20 seconds. With that amount of items that Kai'Sa has, I can only imagine they would just have melted through that Baron with a Nuna to secure it. They knew that the enemy was returning to base, but you know, we're not quite at the highest levels of competitive play. People are still especially learning to play with their teammates. You mentioned that this is a relatively young team in terms of their time spent playing together for DePaul, so maybe they're not quite ready to make immediate judgments like turning on Baron at only 20 minutes.
I mean, maybe Superman, but maybe they're just big brain. They don't want to fall into the classic Dignitas curse of winning until they lose.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't think it's actually I think it's like an 80-20 risk, with the 20% being that slight possibility that Baron play gets turned around on you. I think it is. I would be absolutely terrified to try and face check into no vision against a 4-1 Vladimir with 7 stacks of Majais with Death Cap on the way, and an 11-1 Kai'Sa that clearly has shown that she's not afraid to dive in 1v4 to take out your backline and trade her life for 1.5.
For what it's worth, I absolutely don't disagree with you, but I still like the way that DePaul are playing this one out. We are going to see the root connecting onto Zerch, but you see just how little damage he takes at this point. Ryok will become the fast fairly soon, does have Gale Force available, but in comparison to the items completed by his opposition number, just not even close. This is Ocean Soul being secured by none other than our favourite King Amazing. Teleport's going to come in, and already the Gnar has been deleted from the fight. Overpowered trying to charge onto King Amazing, but nothing but an absolute zero on top of his head. That's going to be the Fresh Express as the Lantern pulls. Kai'Sa in for a triple kill, looking for a potential quadra as the Plasma will go raining towards the base. Unable to find any more this time, but on the back of a triple, it's Ocean Soul and probably Baron.
Yep. I guess slow and steady wins the race. They wanted to make sure that they could secure the Ocean Soul first before going for the Baron. It worked out really well for them, considering right after getting Soul, then Blue Team was out of position. Georgetown wasn't quite ready for how quickly they could turn around that fight. And now that'll reward them with the Baron to boot. And I think it'll be smooth sailing to close out the match from here. It's really hard to throw a 10,000 gold lead.
It's hard, but I have seen it before. One of my favorite games I ever got to cast was from that exact situation, and boy, that was a fun one. Fishbro finds himself on a killing spree all of a sudden, 4-2-2. He's had a few shutdowns, he's got himself key items. It's actually going to be a Divine Sunder rather than the Trinity Force this time around. Also, just one thing I want to really quickly say. I know it's your job as the colour, but my eyes are drawn towards the Bramblefest, towards the 2 Executioner's Callings, and that 2,400 gold of Vladimir tax being paid in an effort to try and negate some of his healing. It just doesn't matter a little bit.
Yeah, it's expensive, but also necessary against not just a Vladimir, but an Ocean Soul too, and a lot of healing that can come through from Anunu. But to be fair, healing only does so much. There is one possible hope that could come through for Georgetown, and that is if King Amazing continues to play hyper-aggressively. Okay, I think it's over. Vladimir's
hyper-aggressive. I give you Zerg. Big old ultimate, big old pop. It's going to be Kaiser who gets the kill yet again, this time onto the outer star. And with the cow gone, the stakes are high, and it is going to be all the cards down on the table, looking like it's coming up trumps for the team that is DePaul. They are pushing down towards this inhibitor turret and looking dominant.
Yeah, stakes are high, stakes are served. That's 9 deaths now for Subaku on the cow, and that just means there's not the crowd control available, which is the point I was gonna make about maybe you can lock down King Amazing. He's got no defensive items if he does make like an aggressive dive with Killer Instinct, but at this point, they keep losing that ability to have crowd control as part of their team, and beyond that, is the damage there? Maybe from the Corki, but I don't see it elsewhere.
Inhibitor turret has fallen, exposed Inhibitor in the mid lane, soon to be another turret falling on the back of this Baron empowered push here in top. It is the 5-man stack coming through from this big powerhouse that is DePaul. They find themselves one kill, absolute zero, gets a good amount of damage down. You see Fishbro using the package, trying to find the burn, trying to find the kill, unable to do so. Does eventually get one onto the Nuno, but it is a consolation prize. Kill onto Arzez as well. Perhaps Zerch has bitten off a little more than he can chew. Capture goes in, taking turret shot after turret shot, but Kaiser's still alive. Vladimir finds a double to round the game out in style for DePaul.
DePaul University suffocating Georgetown inside their own base, baiting them outside the walls where appropriate, and they're able to take down this Nexus turret, and the second one will fall.
Going to be the game-ending push. The death timers were just too long. The dominance was just too much. And DePaul joined Butler in being victorious in their opening games on this stream here at Big East.
Wow, congratulations to DePaul, able to take that victory. I'm sure that Nexus did explode. I mean, there's not much to stop them. I mean, today has got to be the day of 80 carries. It's a reckoning for people who have to play against the likes of Lundstrom and King Amazing. These two 80 carries ending the game with 1,000 gold bounty. I make credit, of course, to last game where he didn't die at all, but 17 is one is absolutely mind-boggling. King Amazing. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. I think we're going to get an interview with this victorious 80 carry in just a minute or so. That was a wonderful, very entertaining game to watch and a fantastic performance by DePaul University.
Hey, all I'm saying, Superman, is that on my screen, the Nexus still hasn't been destroyed. As far as I'm concerned, it's Schrodinger's Nexus. Who really knows if it's gone or not? It's definitely
Hope is alive.
100% definitely gone.
I got to give props to Georgetown. Even though that last team fight didn't go their way and they ultimately lost their Nexus, you could see that they tried to play to the only win condition they had in a team fight like that. They got the Gnar to dive back onto Kaisa, slam her against the wall, try and have Hecarim follow that up. Even the Corki valked through the entire enemy team to try and be back there to deal DPS, but there's just too much healing from the Ocean Break. But we got King Amazing here. I'm excited to talk to him. Welcome, King Amazing.
Yeah. This Hello. Is the man of the hour, as that last game was delivered.
Welcome to the stream, King Amazing. Congratulations on your win and great performance today.
Thank you.
We wanted to talk to you a little bit about the draft. It was a little bit all over the place, and we weren't sure what to expect. Although you guys picked up the Thresh early on, how do you feel about Arzer's Thresh?
Yeah, he's definitely good on Thresh. Obviously, some engaged champions are a little bit easier to execute, like Leona or Rel, but we went with Thresh primarily because Thresh can like cancel Alistar combo in lane. So we just figured that'd be a good pick, and he's just overall like a very versatile champ.
And then playing off of those early game hooks, it seemed like you had a pretty solid plan, and you executed on having the jungler come and camp bottom lane. And honestly, the snowball coming through lane, I joked on stream that it was like the 26th time he came in about 10 minutes. How did that work out for you guys?
Yeah, since level 1 they invaded and Alistar blew his flash, it was pretty clear to us that we can just easily gank bot. Jhin Alistar, especially with Alistar having no flash, early game it's like Nunu Thresh. It's a very, very easy lane to gank. So it was pretty easy for Nunu to just snowball through a lane as long as they weren't completely under their tower.
And Greyheart mentioned to me that he had spoken with some members of your team prior to today's game, and that you guys don't have a lot of synergy built up just yet because this is a relatively new squad as far as the synergies go. Is that true?
That's true. We're hoping to scrim more though, so we can practice, so we can like get better as a team, I guess, and move forward from there.
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, one of the things that Reed mentioned to me in a very, very brief chat earlier was the fact that you sort of started as complete strangers coming into being a team together, but now you're like really feeling like quite a close-knit team. Do you think that really helps? You kind of got that friendship going on as well as just being, having to play the game together?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Last year I was completely new and I didn't really know, I guess, anyone, but now that I'm like getting to know the team a little bit better, it's definitely... that definitely helps with like team cohesion. Obviously, you don't want to be like toxic towards your own team. That doesn't help. So if you know your team better, that will help you guys. I guess that builds synergy in a way. Yeah.
So you guys closed this out relatively quickly. You got that Baron pushed for the win. Congratulations again on your victory. I want to mention to you that we had Butler's AD carry be our MVP from the match previous to yours on stream today. He said that going deathless with 1,000 gold bounty at the end there, 13 kills to boot, would be standard for him moving forward, and that his team was poised to take the entire Big East Conference by storm. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I guess I definitely answered 1 kill. In my opinion, I thought the game was definitely won, so I kind of like for fun answered. But yeah, if you're really, really fed on ADC, I guess it's pretty hard to die if you're getting peel, especially if you're playing Kai'Sa. But we'll see how it goes. Butler is definitely a really good team. I'm hoping that we can maybe practice, so like we can compete against them. Hoping that we can like maybe beat them. We'll see how it goes though.
Yeah, you have a few weeks before you have to take on DePaul in an actual matchup here on stream. So good luck with your scrims, and I'm glad to hear they're going well for you. Congratulations once again on the win and the MVP.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview as well.
Thanks again. And thank you all for tuning in today. That's going to wrap it up for us. Greyheart, it's been a pleasure casting with you.
Absolutely. First time getting to work with you. I certainly hope that it is not the last. And to every single one of you out there in Twitch chat or wherever else you may have managed to be watching this, make sure to follow Big East and all the competing teams, whether that be on Twitch or Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm Stanley Greyheart Buck. You can check me out at Greyheart99. I have loads of amazing content. Wait, no, I don't. But someone I know who has great content, it's got to be Jake Superman Mori. What's your Twitter so we can go give you a follow?
Superman Casting, at Superman Casting. I'm happy to connect with my viewers online.
Absolutely. Well, we would love to hear from you on there. We'd love to see you back in these broadcasts again. We'll be back next week. It will be 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time every Saturday for the next few weeks. Perhaps I'll be back. Perhaps Superman will be back. Definitely these teams bringing us high competitive League of Legends will be back. Until then, however, I'm going to say goodbye for now.